The Parable of the Overflowing Jar. There was a farmer who owned a small field. Each year the field produced enough grain to fill his jar, and from this jar he and his family ate their daily bread. One year the rains were plentiful, and the sun shone just right, so the field yielded twice its usual harvest. The farmer filled his jar, and for the first time he had an overflowing abundance. He said to himself, "What a blessing! I will build a larger jar to store this surplus so that I will never lack again." So he built the jar and filled it to the brim. The next season his field again produced more than he expected, and once more the farmer set about building an even larger jar. "Surely," he said, "when I have enough jars filled, I can rest and never worry about the future." One evening, as he worked on the biggest jar yet, a widow from the village came to him, her children crying from hunger. "Please," she said, "share a little of your grain for my children, and I have no food." The farmer frowned. "I cannot spare any, for I am building my future security. Go and pray that God will provide for you." And he sent her away. That very night a storm swept through the land, and the farmer's field was destroyed. His giant jars of grain toppled and shattered, spilling their contents to the ground. By morning the grain had spoiled, and the farmer was left with nothing. Distraught, the farmer cried out, "Lord, why have you taken everything from me?" And God answered, "You stored up blessings for yourself, but gave none to those in need. You trusted your jars, not me. Did I not fill your field each year? Why did you not share from your abundance?" Reflection. The parable is a sobering reminder that blessings are not meant to be hoarded, but shared. The farmer's mistake was not in rejoicing over his abundance, celebrating God's provision is good, but in his misplaced trust. Instead of seeing his surplus as an opportunity to bless others, he saw it as a safeguard for his own future, ultimately putting his faith in jars and grain rather than in God, who had been the true source of his provision all along. His refusal to help the widow and her children reveals the danger of a closed hand and a closed heart. This parable stirs a tough but essential question. What are the jars in our lives? Are we building bigger barns, or jars, or bank accounts, while ignoring those around us in need? The farmer's downfall is a vivid portrayal of Jesus' warning in Luke 12:15. Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist of an abundance of possessions. God doesn't just bless us for our sake, but so that we can reflect His generosity, becoming channels of His provision to others. There's also a gentle irony here. The farmer spent all his time building jars, but none of them could withstand the storm. Maybe the real security isn't in a bigger jar, but in a bigger trust, one that knows God's provision flows freely to those who live with open hands. After all, a jar may hold grain for a season, but generosity can plant seeds that last forever. So, the next time we find ourselves with an overflowing jar, maybe we should ask, how can this abundance flow outward, and whom can I bless today? Who knows? Sharing might just be the best insurance policy of all.